Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution, and it don't look good for Kamala and the Democrats, as P. Diddy has their freedom in his hands. But before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button, like, share, subscribe. Let everybody know Cool Figure is live. I got a little bit of time. Let's get into some of this P. Diddy information and what exactly is going on with his ties to Kamala and the Democrats. He has politicians on tape at the freak-offs. What's really going on?
Most of you all know by now that P. Diddy has been arrested for crimes, including sex trafficking. And as interesting as that may be, there's something else that needs to be discussed that has not yet been addressed. Because although P. Diddy being arrested might be recent, it's the worst kept secret in Hollywood and elitist circles, the way that P. Diddy behaved. I mean, everybody knows about Diddy's parties. So I just find it interesting that politicians like Kamala Harris, who actually lived in California where Diddy lived, and even used to run in the same circles as Diddy, constantly used Diddy to uplift their political platform. They used him to...
Come on, Kamala, you good friends with P. Diddy. Come on, Kamala. You gonna look out for your friend P. Diddy, the trafficker?
Fundraise. In this particular instance, he actually hosted a town hall for Kamala Harris. In 2004, many of you all might remember P. Diddy actually went to Chicago in order to interview Barack Obama while he was running for his Senate campaign. It was part of his popular vote or die movement. And of course, we all know he went hard in the paint for Barack Obama in 2008 as well. Now, even in 2020, he came out and endorsed Joe Biden and then put the onus on him using his celebrity to get Kamala Harris selected as a vice president. And once again, I should make sure to mention in this particular case, Diddy's relationships seem to be exclusively with Democrats. Why is this important? Because Democrats, specifically ones like Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and others, and the liberal media, love to point out that anybody and everybody is guilty by association just from appearing in a picture with somebody they don't like. But that standard only seems to be applied one way. For example, liberals always love to bring up this picture of Jill Stein sitting at the same table as Putin, despite the fact that she made it clear that this is a conference and that she was there to discuss peace, unity, and protecting the environment. But doesn't matter. They still believe she's a Putin puppet. And we don't even know what the hell that means, really. But that's what they say. And therefore, everyone should dislike her, according to Democrats. But whenever they see Hillary smiling while shaking hands with Putin in this particular picture, no liberals seem to care. Liberals see a picture with Trump and Epstein, and they assume that Trump was guilty of everything that the politicians who've been associated with Epstein are guilty of. I mean, this picture gets thrown around the internet once a week. But while Hillary Clinton was running for office, this photo didn't make its rounds, nor did Democrats care to bring it up. Or what about Harvey Weinstein, who is one of the largest and most prominent donors to the Democratic Party, who held fundraisers in his personal home for both Obama and Hillary Clinton and major Democratic Party campaigns dating all the way back to the 1990s. We did not hear, not one single time, the Democrats wholesale condemn anyone and everyone who was associated with Harvey Weinstein, despite the fact that everyone in Hollywood knew exactly who he was. My point is, the double standard is glaring. Liberals and Democrats pretend to be the party of morality. They pretend to be the moral compass of politics. They pretend that they represent the soul of our nation. But the reality is, everything that they accuse the GOP of being guilty of, the Democrats are normally guilty of as well, and usually more so, if I'm being completely honest. And in the case of Diddy, those who knew and have spoken about it constantly for years have come out once again to remind people that they have been blowing the whistle on Diddy. But these politicians who probably 100% knew exactly what Diddy was about and what he was up to have nothing to say since these charges were put on Diddy. And I just found that to be interesting because they could come out and condemn Diddy. They could come out and say they knew nothing about it. But it's almost as if they don't want him to come out and say, you're lying. You knew everything I was doing because you might have been one of those people participating in some of those famous Diddy parties.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there.
He had politicians in there. Brock was a nobody at one point. Been around Diddy. Wow, this is Diddy. Diddy has hundreds of millions. Oh, yeah, Brock, you don't take Kamala. Wow, it's P. Diddy. Yeah. What would you do to get in office, man? Would you really party at the freak off, Kamala?
He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
They got them.
Salute, fella.
They got tapes and stuff.
Now, if Diddy had tapes, the feds have them. That's a lot of blackmail.
So the same way they be on Jill Stein's neck and Trump's neck and everybody's neck whenever someone has a picture with somebody the Democrats don't like, I want them to have that same energy in this Diddy situation. Go step on Obama.
Kamala can't get out of that. She was promoting them. Thank you, Diddy, for helping us fundraise. Don't try to clean them tweets off. Diddy, vote or die. They needed him. He telling all of us to vote for the Democrats. Them was his good buddies. And then after hours, he throw a party. And then they laugh like, y'all gonna stay for the other party? They all say, no, not their party. Nigga, please. They staff stayed. Some of their secretaries stayed. They all on tape.
Obama's neck. Go step on Kamala's neck. Make sure you condemn Diddy. Condemn Diddy. Give back all the money because that's what y'all would do for everybody else, right? So keep that same energy for your liberal friends.
Now this. So we know the politicians party with Diddy. But now, after all of these CEOs are stepping down, we do know that the FBI has went behind the scenes and told these CEOs, it's best that you step down now. Because what did Diddy also do? Diddy threw the executive parties for the billionaires, no normal people, where they can relax. And guess what? All these people like to play with their nose. They like to pop certain pills. Diddy had all of that for them. Diddy got some of these people. See, some of these cats, I'm not gonna, do anything. They try to grab one of these girls and take them away from Diddy party. But guess what they did decide to do? Do drugs on camera. What? You can lose your CEO jobs if you're doing drugs with sex trafficked women.
I'm sure it feels good to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company and have friends like P. Diddy. But for these CEOs that I'm about to name, that have all been stepping down since the arrest of P. Diddy, I'm sure they're not having a good time right now. So to start the list, T.D. Jakes has stepped down, and now his daughter is taking his place. Lucien Grange has stepped down. His son now leads. Howard Schultz has stepped down. His son now leads. John Paul DeJoria has stepped down. His daughter now leads. Yeah, Paul Mitchell. Kevin Liles has stepped down. John G. Taft has stepped down as well, and his son now leads his position. Ruth Handler, her daughter now leads. Ruth Handler is actually the inventor of Barbie. Ronald Perlman stepped down. His daughter now leads. Nike CEO John Donahoe, he has stepped down. The head of Sony Music Nashville, Randy Goodman, has stepped down. The CEO of Warner Music Japan, I can't pronounce his name, so yeah, y'all try. At this point, being a friend to P. Diddy is detrimental to your career, so I'm not sure how you guys are handling it. But again, it's your boy Brian. Much respect. I'm out.
See, all of those CEOs got the tap on the shoulder from the FBI and let them know you might as well step down now because you on tape doing some stuff that you definitely will lose your career over. So you do this the nice way. And all of those people are talking about they want to spend more time with their family now, y'all.
Former federal prisoner himself who served time at 11 institutions across 5 states and is founder and director of Wall Street Prison Consultants. He advises people who are about to face the same plight, and he joins me now live. Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plots. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating. They lose a lot of weight. Look at somebody coming out of prison. They look like a POW or something, but they've been through the ringer. Now, there's a collateral issue that may be here. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. But they can't have this guy do a suicide. It would look kind of funny. Now, imagine if somebody got to one of the correctional officers, and this could happen. They don't make a lot of money. And there's people out there that he has things on that do have a substantial amount of money. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. He's really, really paranoid. He's really, really scared. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know who to trust or what to believe. Then he had a religious visit also, and a dietitian come talk to him. Now, there's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's a religious diet. That could be another aspect as well. But I remember when I first went into custody at MDC Los Angeles, and I didn't eat for a couple of days, but this guy's been there about a week now. So he should be in a routine. And there's just so much, Ashley, there is so much disinformation that comes out. Like he has to get up at 6 o'clock to make his bed and mop his cell. That's for a regular housing unit at MDC. He's not getting out of the shoe. He doesn't have to make his bed, really. He's probably laying in bed all day long, just stewing and thinking. So the situation and the conditions for him are completely different than it would be for a regular inmate. So
talk to me, Larry, about talk to me about the potential that this could be a protest, because Ghislaine Maxwell famously said some pretty strident things about the MDC Brooklyn lockup and the food and how terrible it was, and that she had been losing a ton of weight. Is it possible this is a protest?
Well, at several BOP institutions, Federal Bureau of Prisons institutions across the country, there's food strikes going on where people are refusing to eat because of the quality of the food and the way they're being treated. And that could have carried over to MDC. But on the other hand, he's sitting in the shoe. How did he hear about it? Unless he bought the little overpriced Sony Walkman radio. I bet they let him have that. Or maybe he talked to somebody on the phone on a limited call that told him, yeah, they're having a hunger strike, and he's joining in that. Remember, the food is bland. The food is a lot of carbohydrates. It's kind of it fills you up, but you get sick eating it. I mean, there's mold in a lot of that food. The food coming to him is cold. It's not coming to him warm like it would be in a regular housing unit, because they feed the people in the shoe last. Maybe he got sick from the food. That's another possibility. I mean, they may actually be moving him. Maybe he's concerned and his lawyer's concerned, as I said,
do you know, Larry, if he's still on suicide watch? Is he still on suicide watch?
He's still on suicide watch. The shrink is coming to see him several times a day. And at MDC, they hand out psych meds like they're handing out M&Ms. So I don't know if he's taking them, but they're certainly available to him. I took them in MDC one time because I was having problems sleeping. And after I took it one time, you play a lot of chess in there, you do a lot of reading. I wasn't able to engage anybody. I couldn't think. I turned into a zombie. And after taking it one time, I stopped taking them.
Thanks for watching.
entire world is watching Diddy being dethroned. Just last year, he was still one of the most powerful men in the music industry, but fast forward to today, and he's now awaiting his demise. You guys all know the saying, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. This couldn't be more accurate to describe Diddy. Well, besides the fact that he always was the villain, just pretending to be the hero, Diddy's past has come back to haunt him, and now it seems like he might be facing justice for his evil. The only problem with this is that Diddy isn't the only one who is guilty in the music industry, as he had a lot of people partying with him who participated in the same activities. People who would do anything to keep Diddy from snitching on them and bringing them down with him. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we will be talking about why Diddy might not survive this trial. But before we begin, I just wanted to remind you guys to check out the new interview I just did with music industry publicist Jonathan Hay. I just dropped this hour-and-a-half interview with a music industry insider who exposed Drake, Diddy, and Jay-Z. Here's a clip of that interview.
My name is Jonathan Hay. I'm a publicist.
At any moment, did you personally feel that they could have had something going on, Jay-Z and Rihanna?
Definitely.
You can say allegedly, definitely.
Not allegedly.
He was interrogated, and this is literally what he said. He said that not Jay-Z. He said P. Diddy, Rick Ross, and DJ Khaled. He said they're all gay, and he said that they're all a part of the Bole Masonic organization.
What I do know for a fact, not alleged, but DJ Khaled is bisexual, and Jay-Z has also participated in bisexual activities.
Would you want to say allegedly for your safety?
There's no, I would say allegedly if it was allegedly. DJ Khaled, 100% has been involved, and he's bisexual.
If you haven't seen that interview, make sure to watch it after this one. There is so much information in that interview you won't want to miss. I will leave the link to the interview in the comment section. Thank you all. Now, let's get right into it. On Monday, September 16th, hip-hop mogul and billionaire Diddy was arrested at a hotel in New York City. That was the very moment many people were waiting for all year. Rumors about Diddy's arrest has been circulating for months, but people began to feel like it wasn't going to happen. Many felt that Diddy was too powerful, which made him untouchable. Well, that was until it actually happened. When Diddy finally got arrested, it broke the internet, as everyone felt it was long overdue. Diddy had been free, terrorizing the music industry for decades. While people were celebrating the fact that Diddy was finally being held accountable, they seemed to have forgotten about Diddy's many silent accomplices. The other people at the top who helped Diddy set up the freak-offs and take advantage of all these rising artists. While everyone has formed an angry mob chasing Diddy with pitchforks and torches, his silent accomplices are making a run for it. They are trying their best to destroy evidence and hide their relationship with Diddy. When Diddy's house was raided, it was reported that the feds had confiscated tapes from the freak-offs showing many other celebrities' involvement. It turns out Diddy was secretly filming all his celebrity friends' activities at his house, especially when they were invited to the freak-offs. These tapes 100% incriminate these other celebrities as well, who were indulging in these freak-off activities with Diddy. One man who attended plenty of Diddy parties, Jay-Z, has been moving rather strange all year since the Diddy takedown started. This year, he canceled his Rock Nation annual brunch party without any real explanation. Maybe it's because he doesn't want people realizing he was up to the same activities as Diddy. People are failing to realize Diddy was surrounded by very powerful people the entire time he was doing all of this evil. In fact, in the Little Rod lawsuit, the producer who sued Diddy for a lot of the things he's arrested for now claimed that the most powerful man in music, Lucien Grange, allegedly helped Diddy throw these freak-off parties. Little Rod claimed in his lawsuit that Lucien paid for these lavish parties where Diddy was doing his dirt. Little Rod also alleged that he often saw Lucien Grange at Diddy's house, going into Diddy's bedroom and staying in there for hours. It's important I stress how powerful Lucien Grange is. He is the top guy in the music industry. The only people above him are the investors who are the real elite. He is the president of Universal Music Group, UMG. UMG owns most of the record labels. They are one of the 3 major record labels. Now, according to Little Rod, Lucien Grange allegedly was behind funding some of those parties and knew about the activities going on at them. even allegedly participating in some activities with Diddy. Eventually, Lucy and Grange lawyers came after Little Rod's lawyers, forcing them to remove his name from the lawsuit and even issue an apology. This, to me, only made Lucy and Grange look more guilty. Lucy and Grange is a man with immense power and connections. Right now, Diddy could be a liability to him, as who knows what dirt Diddy has on him. Who knows how many videos Diddy has of Lucian potentially doing something compromising. People like Grange have the kind of money and power to make someone like Diddy not make it out of trial. There's a lot of people in the industry that want Diddy gone right now because they don't want to go down with him. They know at any moment Diddy might flip on others and bring down whoever he can. Another two big celebrities with tons of money and power who were often seen with Diddy were Rick Ross and DJ Khaled. The three were close, very close buddies, often seen hanging out at Star Island with Diddy. Ross even bought himself a house on Star Island to be closer to Diddy. Diddy's house on Star Island ended up being raided, and it was where some of the freak-off tapes were found. You think Ross and Khaled aren't in some of those tapes? Both of them would prefer if Diddy just never made it to trial, as who knows what could come out in those tapes. Just imagine the number of big-name celebrities that are on those tapes. It's not just rappers, it's actors too, as Ashton Kutcher was a close friend of Diddy who was at his freak-off parties.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote.
Really? One, yeah. Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, can't tell that one either. I mean, like actually cycling through them. There was one moment.
Revolutionary salute to our family, RT Bell, for the donation to the war chest. It said, appreciate the radio style long lead content, getting me through 12-hour shifts. I definitely appreciate the love to the war chest. Revolution is real life. I'm just doing my job for the revolutionary salute.
So it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. It started over punked because he was like, yo, don't punk. You can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. Like, not me, I'm off the table. So that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out and watch football together.
As you heard for yourself, Ashton pretty much lets us know that what was going on at those Diddy parties couldn't be spoken about. Kutcher has been awfully quiet
since. He fucked up because the feds gonna make him tell them, we want to know about the stuff you said you couldn't talk about on tape, and he gonna be forced to tell. He ain't gonna have no choice because he already admitted. And he can laugh it off, but they already got the tapes, so they gonna want to know, will you really participate?
Since Diddy was exposed at the beginning of the year, it's pretty obvious that many of these celebrities are shaking in their boots, wishing that Diddy would just disappear. They know Diddy has the power to sink the boat. This has become a massive problem for Diddy, as those who were once his friends are now his enemies. Diddy is no doubt the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry, and it looks like he's going to have the same outcome as Epstein in prison. And they are setting this up right now. Recently, it was reported that Diddy was denied bail not once but twice. He offered the courts $50 million to be released on bail, but it was denied. He then promised to give up his passports and to not have female guests at his home, but it was also denied. It's clear they don't want to let Diddy out, which I'm not gonna lie, is rather strange, as Diddy isn't being accused of murder or something like that. He's also promising to give $50 million in collateral, which would have been more than enough for any other celebrity facing similar charges to get off. They don't want to let Diddy out because that's exactly where they want him to be. While Diddy is free, he's surrounded by security and has endless means to protect himself. But in prison, it's much easier to make someone like Diddy disappear, just like they did with Epstein. This is exactly what the elite are setting up. If you have been watching the news lately, they have been reporting that Diddy is on suicide watch. They are claiming that the feds believe Diddy is at the potential risk of taking himself out behind bars. This is very interesting because Jeffrey Epstein was also on SW before he quote-unquote took himself out. The reason they're doing this is to set up the narrative from now. If they do end up taking Diddy out, then they'll just blame it on him doing it to himself, just like Epstein did. When Epstein died, so did a lot of the secrets he was keeping about the richest, most powerful men in the world. Epstein became the sacrificial lamb for other much more powerful people. This is exactly what seems to be happening with Diddy. Everyone who did dirt with him are now hoping he ends up in the dirt. A man like Lucy and Grange or Jay-Z definitely have the pull to make someone disappear while inside. So don't be surprised if this is what ends up happening to Diddy, especially after he pissed off the elite on top of him. About a year ago now, I called out all of this that's happening now to Diddy When he sued the liquor brand Diageo, he was signed to. Diageo gave Diddy over $1 billion over their partnership, and all they wanted was for Diddy to push poison onto his people. They paid Diddy handsomely to promote Ciroc to the urban community. Diddy promoted Ciroc so much, people thought he owned it, but he never did. All he had was a partnership where he made a percentage of each Ciroc flavor he promoted. Diddy and Diageo's relationship was going smoothly until Diddy got too greedy. He didn't just want to make a lot of money promoting the brand. He wanted to become one of the elite he was working for, an owner. So he made his own brand, De Leon, under Diageo. Diddy thought that he was going to make it to the next level and be the elite, so Diageo didn't invest in De Leon like Diddy expected, which led to his brand failing. When this happened, Diddy tried to shame Diageo into promoting his brand by suing them, filing a lawsuit claiming Diageo was purposely making him fail by not taking his brand seriously. This is what caused all of his problems, as Diageo responded swiftly. Not long after that lawsuit, Keefe D got arrested for Tupac, with Keefe claiming Diddy was who paid him to do the crime. Here's a clip of my video stating this almost a whole year ago. Now why? I believe Keefe D has been trying to snitch on Diddy this entire time. For the last decade, Keefe D has pointed fingers, elbows, and even toes in Diddy's direction, repeatedly telling multiple outlets Diddy paid millions of dollars for the hit. For whatever reason, now is that something is happening, but why? Could this have anything to do with Diddy turning on those above him? Recently, in June 2023, Diddy got into a disagreement with the owners of the liquor brand Ciroc, a brand that Diddy has been the face of for as long as I can remember. In June, Diddy sued the owners of Ciroc for racial discrimination after he claimed they treated his liquor brand, De Leon, like an inferior black brand. Since then, the two have had a massive fallout, which has cost Diddy hundreds of millions of dollars. Isn't it strange that now that Diddy is locked in a legal battle with the owners of Ciroc, Keefe D got arrested for a crime that Diddy is being connected to? What a coincidence, ain't it? After all these years, even though Keefe D was straight up snitching on himself and Diddy for the entire time, this just so happens to be the year he gets picked up for it. The same year the elite above Diddy are having trouble keeping him in his place. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. If Diddy does finally get taken in and questioned for this, then you know why. Those above him are getting him out of the way for not falling in line. When I saw Diddy get in trouble with Diageo and things started magically happening to him, I knew they were behind it. This is something even 50 Cent recently admitted during an interview. 50 Cent stated that the owners of Diageo are the type of people that can make civil cases turn into criminal cases.
Particular experience with Beef Centauri, it was great in the beginning. It's great for us to work for them. It's not so cool when you start owning things. You see what I'm saying? So I made a lot of money with them too. Like, there's a point, they did a deal that mirrored Funky's deal with Diageo was for Ciroc.
At the end of the day, you want to be able to open up doors. Sometimes you got to take that opportunity and get in. And so that's what I did with Ciroc.
So he didn't have ownership of that at any point, but he was getting a lot of money, almost like $50 million a year at one point. So you see him go to daily on this when you see him have some issues. It gets bad. You know, and these people have really strong relationships. Don't think that the civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case. The civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case. That's because he's making them uncomfortable. That's a big part of it. You know what I mean? Like, you go to the spirits business it's not governed.
As you heard for yourself, even 50 Cent agrees with what I said almost a whole year ago. Diddy is being punished not because he's been doing evil for all these years, but because he fell out of line. These people want Diddy in jail because it's easier to make him disappear. With all the people that prefer him out the way right now, don't be surprised if Diddy doesn't make it out of this one. Well, I'm gonna end this one here, but before you guys
The alleged crimes of Sean Diddy Combs are what's trending in true crime this morning. Welcome back. I'm Julie Grant. Many people are noticing the celebrity associates who are not speaking out. Let's talk about them. For instance, Usher, who was managed by Diddy. Remember that when he was 13 and later worked with him as an adult. Usher recently wiped his profile from Twitter, X. He was mentioned in one of the sex assault lawsuits at someone who had sexual interactions with Combs. Howard Stern once asked Usher about Diddy's wild parties. Here's what he said.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you saying? I went there to see the lifestyle. Right. And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I understand that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Not only did he delete his Twitter, but Pink also deleting her tweets. And what we see is that with Usher, there's been rumors and speculation of this for years, where Diddy has taken on him, and not only him, but you see right there, Justin Bieber, put them in something called flavor camp, where these adults, these parents, gave their children over to Diddy to build their career, and Diddy took them under his wing. Okay. And then there's these weekends and these he would take them in into flavor camp, and no one can talk about what happened. Usher can't talk about it. Justin Bieber can't talk about it. No one can talk about what happened, but they were severely, even with the things he said, if you go more into the interview, it was traumatizing. Even to this day, as adults, can't speak on what happened and what they were exposed to during that. And the videos with Diddy with Justin Bieber, it's so awkward and so bizarre. I need to do more and dig more into that, and to give you guys more details on all the information, what people have said about what Diddy did to these young men at these flavor camp. Like, why was it even called flavor camp? There's just so much evil. There's so much disgusting behavior that was alleged throughout the years. And now with this indictment, now with the government getting involved, all of these things coming forth, now it's becoming mainstream. But these have all been rumors and people speaking out about these things for years, but no one believed them or deemed them as crazy. Even Kanye West said that Diddy is a Fed. He's a federal informant. Okay? He is a informant.
Revolutionary salute to our family, Curtis Mitchell, for the donation to the war chest. He say this sounds like a small head operation. It definitely is. He pissed them off. They putting him back in his place. Appreciate your donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life.
For the FBI, and that's why he's been protected by these government agencies all these years. I'll be sure. Okay, who was with Kim Porter, and they had a child together, and then Diddy basically took her from him and took his child. They said it made it seem like he adopted him, and that Al B. Shore was a deadbeat father. Well, Al B. Shore spoke out today on how Diddy is actually the cause of Kim Porter's death, and that Al B. Shore, who was in a coma recently for 2 months, that it wasn't his health failed. That someone tried to take him out. Just today, I just did this video on he is going off and talking about how it was the industry and Diddy trying to silence him. He didn't say his name, but he's talking about Cassie and all those things that happened. It's so many details that I couldn't get into in this video, but understand more people who have been silenced through the years through coercion, through threats of whether their livelihood, their career, and even death, they are now feeling emboldened to come out and speak their truth and tell the truth. And Al B. Shore says he was there in the beginning. If you don't know, when Diddy started Bad Boy, there were several people around him. It was Al B. Shore, whose life was almost taken, Kim Porter, whose life was taken, Andre Harrell, who was the head of Uptown Records, who was taken out, and Heavy D, who is also dead. So all these people have died. And Al B. Shore says, I'm the one left to actually tell the story. And there's a lot more to get into. But again, I'm going to have to do it in bits and pieces in different videos because there's just too much information to digest at one sitting.
Associate who's noticeably quiet this morning, Justin Bieber. The singer becoming acquainted with Diddy around the age of 15 years old. And many are speculating that Bieber could be a victim. But Bieber himself has not commented. Our question this morning, which celebrities will break the deafening silence? We got an awesome power panel standing by. Let's bring them in now. Law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter, entertainment commentator Holland Reed, and corrections officer and the former president of the New York City Correction Officers Union, Elias Hussamadeen. Good morning to you all. Holland Reed, I want to start with you, please. The entertainment industry is abuzz. Tell us what you're hearing this morning.
What I'm hearing this morning is that we've gone from just shaking in the boots to sheer panic. As you said in your opening statements, Julie, the silence is deafening, especially from longtime associates of Diddy, such as J-Lo, who dated him for a very long time in the early 2000s, Usher, who was one of his proteges, along with Justin Bieber. These are people that had firsthand accounts and experiences with this man, and they are quiet. And the reason being is they don't know what part of their experiences are on those tapes that the FBI has and what they got during those raids. They don't know if it was criminal or just a part of whatever, their adult consent, pleasure, whatever you want to call it. But what they're worried about now is their own brand, their own empires, their own careers. And if they had any part of planning or any part of knowing about the minors or the sex workers there, they're going to be in big trouble as well.
Oh, you're so right, Holland. You're so right. Sonny Slaughter, let's talk about that. When we think about famous celebrities who are shaking in their boots this morning, I would imagine these investigators are going to want to talk to a lot of people, that a lot of interviews may still need to be done. Would you speak to that, please, Sonny, the investigation aspect of this and what more needs to be done to gather all the information about what Diddy allegedly did?
Good morning, Julie, and my esteemed colleagues. So what I can tell you is that there has already been a lot of conversation with some of the celebrities that have been identified as victims, and another term that I use is victim perpetrators. So although some of these individuals may have been victims, they may have also been perpetrators that participated in the forced fraud and coercion of others. So those investigations, those conversations have already started, and everyone, as I have stated before, needs to obtain legal counsel. HSI, which we call Homeland Security Investigation, is the lead agency on this. They are the best at what they do. They are also working in concert with the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Postal Service, the Department of Corrections, local, state, and other agencies to determine exactly where the intersection of criminal activity and the investigations need to take place. So this is an ongoing multi-jurisdictional agency investigation, and people who have attended these parties, who may have seen something and didn't say something, everybody needs to get an attorney because everyone will get questions. One of the things, last thing that I'll say, which has helped in this investigation is that in the attempt and allegedly for forced fraud and coercion, he created his own narrative with the tapes, the videos, and everything that law enforcement can review. So this is a tracking and trending operation where they already have enough evidence, which is why the first indictment has come down, and you can expect that there will be more.
Great information, Sonny. Thank you for all of that.
So now all of these agencies are working together now in pulling out all this information and trying to put together, and even because again, he was the only person named in this RICO indictment. You have to have co-conspirators. They mentioned co-conspirators. They mentioned other people who were involved in this, but they didn't name any names because it's an ongoing investigation. But best believe they have these tapes. They know who was involved. You know, and again, I believe that's just surface level. There's higher ups. I did a video talking about other people, Lucian Grange. And again, I don't have concrete information that these people were directly doing something, but it has been alleged that these are the people that were part of it. Again, Kanye West talked about it, and people thought he was crazy at the time. In the lawsuit from Little Rod, he talks about how Clive Davis is actually worse. He is a part of it. So actually, Little Rod talked about Lucian Grange in there in that lawsuit. Okay, and then people have talked about Clive Davis. This goes back to, you know, so many, not just what Diddy has done, but all of this dirt that has happened in Hollywood. And best believe Diddy has all this dirt, not just on his tapes, but he knows where the bodies are literally buried. He knows all of these industry secrets. So they are terrified not only of these tapes, but what is Diddy going to say? Is he going to actually talk? Because we know at the end of the day, Diddy's going to try to save himself. If he's out there on the line, he's going to save himself, especially when none of his celebrity friends are coming to his defense. Nobody's standing up for him. Since the Cassie's lawsuit came out last November, no one has had anything to say. They've acted like they don't know anything. When his raid happened, he said no one to defend him, but yet he said all these friends, all these celebrity friends. I've been looking at his birthday parties and his different videos. I mean, there are actors, business executives, not just in Hollywood and the music industry, but from different walks of life that are at these parties, right? And so all of these people that have known about it, there have been rumors like, don't go to Diddy's after party. Cat Williams talked about it. And a lot of people have spoken in code because either they've been threatened or the fear of, financial ruin, or them not being believed in general. Because if all this is happening, then how come there's been no investigations and the police aren't involved, or the FBI isn't involved? But now that the FBI is involved and is giving credence to all these rumors and crazy people, well, the truth is coming out. And Hollywood, the big secret that they've tried to keep undercover, rumors about the Illuminati and all those things, and initiation rituals and humiliation rituals, we're now seeing those things come to light. How many humiliation rituals are we going to see on these tapes? We know it's alleged that Diddy likes men and women. It doesn't matter. Cat, dog, boy, girl, it does not matter. Okay, these are sexual deviants, and it's all about power and deviancy. Even Clive Davis came out and said that Kanye West said taught Diddy everything he knew, and he's much worse. Clive Davis came out after 50 years and said he's now realizing that he's bi and he likes men suddenly, and now he can live his truth. And he said there's really no sexual difference between a man and a woman, and all this other stuff that he's come out. I did a video on that the other day. You're going to have to dive into it, but we know these people have zero morals. They have zero care about humans, human beings, and anyone else but themselves. It is all about getting as much money and power for themselves as they can, and whoever they have to use and blackmail and have dirt on so they can rise through the ranks and keep those people under control, well, then that's what they're going to do.
One person who is speaking out, rapper Shine. Remember him, Diddy's artist? Back when that nightclub shooting happened in New York, we all heard about it. Diddy was there, Jennifer Lopez was there. And we know that Shine was the one left holding the bag. And even though there was a witness who said it was not Shine who shot me, Shine wound up being convicted, being deported. Let's take a listen to some of what he has said about Diddy.
Let us not lose sight of what the cold hard facts are. This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life.
Okay, Elias Hussamadeen, last but certainly not least, I want to go to you, please, and tap into your experience. Everybody's wondering, is Diddy going to sing like a canary now that he is locked up and not living his lavish lifestyle? There are many people who believe he could bring a lot of famous people down if he talks. What do you think may happen, Elias?
Quite frankly, there's no telling what's going to happen under these circumstances. Sometimes people break and sometimes they talk. One of the things that I was asked about was whether or not he should be placed, or whether or not he's placed under a suicide watch. And in those situations when we have people of his notoriety in jail, suicide watch is something that it would be negligent not to put him under, considering what's going on and everything that's been said since we've been on this broadcast, and considering that suicide is the number one cause of death inside the jails and the prison. But there's a possibility that he, as well as others in the past, might break.
I see it potentially happening, because when I look at this indictment, I mean, this is nasty. This is filthy, dirty stuff being alleged. And I would imagine if there's any hope of a deal, Diddy would take it. I want to play a clip from.
And this is what Hollywood is scared of. Not only, either way, Hollywood is screwed. All of these people, all these celebrities are screwed because whether it comes out on the tapes or Diddy talks, either way, they're screwed. And they're hoping that if he is deleted, which, you know, I don't believe he would actually take himself out. I have to use certain language, guys. Take himself out. I don't believe he would do that. I believe he's too much of a narcissist, you know, to do that. Even if he was allegedly did that, well, the FBI has these tapes. Things will go on. So it would be hope that it would stop. It worked with Jeffrey Epstein. It worked with him. So maybe it could work with Diddy. So we don't know. If anything happens to him, best believe that he was taken out. He did not do it to himself. That they found a way to take him out to try to stop the truth from coming out. But I do believe Diddy will snitch again because nobody's trying to protect him. He no longer is covered. So why would he protect any of them? And hopefully the FBI will continue the investigation, even if something happens to him, so that we can get the truth. But we know a lot of times it goes, you know, once they are told, or whatever powers that be don't want this stuff to come out and put a quash to it and say that's enough, then we'll never find out the truth. We've seen that in so many cases throughout the years.
Someone who is famous in the industry, someone that, you know, knows Diddy. There's a long history there. You know, and he's in lockup right now. The difference is he's a real hardened gangster. Suge Knight speaking out about Diddy and talking about the things he's done, potentially catching up. This is prior to the indictment as well. Let's play a clip of what Suge said on his podcast.
I tell you what, puppy, your life is in danger because you know the secrets. Who's involved in that little secret room you guys participating in? Oh yeah, by the way, do not do your time going by Brother Love. Brother Love is not a good code name for prison. I'm out.
Oh my gosh, it's like he's prophesizing there. Holland Reed, let me go back to you here. I know you heard this when he released it, and now the Diddy's indicted. Your thoughts, please.
Let me just say this. I met Suge Knight one time, and that is the most menacing, scariest person I've ever met in my life, standing in his presence, and I never would like to do that again. He's also somebody that knows what it's like to intimidate witnesses and people. That's why these celebrities are keeping quiet, because they were scared for their life. Kim Porter was scared, Cassie was scared, but now here we are. And I think hopefully people will start talking simply because he is in jail and he is locked up. But they are still scared. Puffy has goons. He did not do this alone. Suge Knight knows what he's talking about, and they better listen.
So well said, Holland. Thank you for that. Suge says Diddy's got the secrets. And so let's talk about something that is possibly one of those secrets. We've got online sleuths, of course, all over this. And this morning, they're taking a hard look at the death of Diddy's longtime former girlfriend, the mother of some of his children, Kim Porter. Remember her? She died in 2018 at the age of 47. Her cause of death was listed officially as pneumonia. And we know that Kim Porter was working on a tell-all book at the time, which, by the way, may still get released. People very close to her and Diddy say that she was a victim of years of physical and sexual abuse. A former bodyguard for Combs has repeatedly talked about it online. Take a listen.
He broke Kim, let's say allegedly, but it was told by people in her camp that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht. So Cassie's story is Kim's story. Cassie's book is Kim's book.
Deal, right?
And actually, I'll be sure confirmed that today that, you know, she was the original. Kim Porter was the original person. And he even spoke to Kim Porter, you know, in the days leading up to her death. And she was in good spirits and that she was planning to put this tell-all book out. And then mysteriously, she gets sick and just dies. Okay? She is out of the blue. Again, the same way that they tried to, whatever was used on her, allegedly, I'll be sure saying they did try to do the same thing to me, but I live by the grace of God. I am the person that was able to live to survive to tell the story, because again, he was there from the beginning and knows where all the bodies are buried. And of course, Diddy will want to take a person like him out. Of course. And throughout the years, he has been very concerned about his son. And I think that's one of the main reasons he has been off on the sidelines. He's tried to talk to authorities, but he said they wouldn't listen to him. But he was concerned about Kim's life and his son's life. But since this book came out that he's saying is a complete fabrication, it is not the true words of Kim Porter and what she wanted to tell about Diddy. It did not tell all the horrific things that he had done, the atrocities, he literally says, that happened, that Kim knew about, that she experienced herself. That not only that all of these things, now that this work of fiction came out, he said is enough because he still loves that woman. He's been in love with her all these years, but for her protection and the protection of his son, he could not fight against Diddy. He could not fight against him. And we know, because it wasn't just Diddy, it's a whole machine, a whole industry that stood by this man's side and allowed these things to happen, and law enforcement, because it is alleged and it's been known that he had the cops in New York in his pocket as well.
There seems to know what he's talking about. So our question to our power panel now, is Kim Porter's death going to be investigated? Let's bring them back in. Sunny Slaughter, I want to go to you on this, please. What do you think?
I think there's an opportunity for them to reopen the investigation into Kim Porter's death and to really start listening to what some of the people in her camp and friends have been saying all along. This is not a news story around Kim Porter, and I hope that it really does get the eyes that it deserves, because these are horrific allegations. And although they're allegations, they're so horrifying, and so many people knew and so many people ignored. And there's a reason why many people did. But right now, I think there's an opportunity to look at this death more intentionally and to get justice, if necessary, for Kim Porter and for her children, their children.
Yes, Sunny, well said. And for anybody wondering legally, always remember this little teachable moment. With homicide, there's no statute of limitations. So if it was a death in that way, then investigators can proceed with charging. And so as of right now, pneumonia is what it was officially deemed. We'll see if it gets cracked open in light of all of these circumstances.
So yeah, I wanted to bring you that segment because it's important that when, other sources are starting to talk about, like, listen, people who have their ears to Hollywood, especially the woman that was there with the curly hair at the bottom, she said that they are all afraid. They are trembling with fear. They are terrified of what's coming out. And I broke that to you last week, talking about Hollywood is terrified. TMZ said the same thing. Entertainment Tonight reporter said the same thing. They all know that they are on these tapes and they are scared of what's going to come out of it, whether they're going to be legally held accountable or publicly held accountable once people see the things and the depravity that they are actually involved in. So with that, guys, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, and I will see you on the next.
It's a hard year for those who've had crazy things to say about Tupac.
Charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
And more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. I buy a bottle of baby oil, that shit'll last for 4 years for me. I do believe there's a Tupac curse going around, and I think people better be very, very careful the way they maneuver in these streets. DIY. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, in the year that is going to go down as the year of truth, it started off with a very disturbing interview with Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams. I don't give a shit how tired you are of me saying this, by the way. The year of truth Many have gone down, many have been exposed, and the one here next is Sean Diddy Combs. Look, let me just say this first and foremost. I take no excitement in seeing any black man get locked up. I think a lot of folks who are doing reactions are just repeating the same thing you can get on TMZ and then just adding the ha-has to the freaky-ass headlines. We're going to talk about the freaky-ass headlines, but I take no pleasure in seeing a black man, an entrepreneur, get locked up. But if these things are true, I mean, even just seeing the video of Cassie, what are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? We're talking about a monster. And we're talking about somebody who has affected a music industry that many of you have either tried to get into, have been affected by because of the domino effects, or you've been pushed out of because you wasn't with the shenanigans. Here, you're going to watch a video where they announced why they arrested him. But I have a theory that goes deeper than just him getting arrested. I think that was inevitable, especially if you're operating like this, you're doing business with people in high places. I think it's inevitable. I think something that's happening right now that nobody's talking about is something I'm going to call the Tupac curse.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Let's build the case. Prosecutors outline federal sex trafficking charges against Sean Diddy Combs.
Today, I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including...
Now, you're seeing these charges that are being here. Why are we starting off? We're talking about a Tupac curse. Why are we starting off with Diddy? Maybe it's important that I give you a little reminder before we finish this video. In this interview here, Tupac, he says a lot about how he felt. In his opinion, he wasn't trying to, as he says, slander the man's name, that Diddy was somehow involved, allegedly, in him getting shot at that studio. He didn't like the way that he talked about Tupac when he was locked up in the same Vibe magazine, that he said some things in. And this is what he said, to give you a little bit of reminder real quick.
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew. You know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about.
Here, Tupac just said that he has proof in this Vibe magazine interview from 1996 after he was released. He's talking about he has proof Sean Diddy Combs was allegedly involved in his shooting.
You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you see what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out. It was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit.
I remember reading about this in those Vibe magazines in which they talked about different accounts about what actually happened from the people who were at that quad studio. The same people who said they didn't see anything had a lot to say about Pac once he got locked up in these Vibe magazines. This is Pac, fresh out of jail, with a lot of things to share. Matter of fact, there's an interview we've never heard with Angie Martinez in which they say to this day, I see it on the Art of Conversation, or Art of Dialogue, where they talk about if that interview were to ever surface, there's people living right now who would have issues.
The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me?
Back to the story.
Sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers.
Yeah, you can watch that video in its entirety, but I still want to have a YouTube channel because there's a lot of things being said right here that I don't even know how NBC News can clear it, but I'm not going to go down that rally. There's a lot of charges here. There's a lot of things that are still sealed. There's a lot of things coming up, one of which, we said the word of the day was egregious. Now, we know when people want to go on a propaganda spree, they're going to say whatever they can to bring you down. But it's only so many times you can say somebody stink. Okay, maybe you never smelled them. But if all these different people from all over, you think everybody a hater? You think everybody got the same nose? Maybe this nigga just stink. This is just a random example. But as people, you know, the law enforcement were searching Diddy's home in Miami and Los Angeles this year, law enforcement seized narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
You's a freaky ass nigga. Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Where do you put 1,000 bottles of lubricant? Like, just as an inconvenience, have you ever seen 1,000 of anything? Don't say dollars. Put $1,000 somewhere. It's cool. You put it in a little box. You ever seen 1,000 of anything? And how much of an inconvenience it would be? 1,000 bottles of lube. These were allegedly for the freak offs and the things that they did, but we're not getting into the look. Everybody got their little kinks. Everybody got their little thing. I ain't never needed that. Fam, I buy a bottle of baby oil. That shit'll last for 4 years for me. Johnson & Johnson don't get that much business for me. 1,000 bottles?
Put down your phone, baby, put down your phone. Put down your phone, baby, put down your phone. Put down your phone, baby, put down your phone. Don't never let them haters ever take you out your zone. Put down your phone, baby, put down your phone. I'm looking in your eyes like a window to your soul. What's been on your mind, what you seeing when you scroll? I tell you that you fine and you wanna change your clothes. I walk up from behind you in the mirror when you pose. Tears in your eyes like, baby, I feel gross. It's when I hold you close to my chest and remind you, don't listen to them trolls or them hoes in designer. Put down your phone, you know the devil is a liar. I still see the baddie I proposed to at the diner. Can tell I made her smile, but it wouldn't be for long. Try to tell her something else, then she picked up her phone. Wait, put down your phone, baby, put down your phone. Put down your phone, baby, put down your phone.
What are we doing in there? Don't want to know. But let's continue on with this idea of a Tupac curse. I was talking to Justin, the company man. We were having a conversation about this, and I was like, I'm developing this story, and I kind of need your help to kind of like, you know, let me know if you see if there's something here. He reminded me, in this year of truth, there was somebody else that went down, Keefe D. Remember, Keefe D was one of the individuals that admitted to being in the car of the person who turned the lights out. I can't say certain words on YouTube. Who canceled the lights out? Somebody who aimed out the car and ended Tupac. He was the driver of the car. Some even said the alleged shooter. With that said, Justin reminded me he went down officially for charges this year as well. The Tupac curse.
Man facing charges in the death of Tupac Shakur, Dwayne Davis, was back in court today. At the center of this case lately has been the way Davis posted bail this year using money.
Revolutionary salute to our brother Out of Bondage for the donation to the war chest. Revolutionary way of life. We say revolutionary salute, family. Revolutionary salute. I absolutely appreciate the love, family.
From a producer who allegedly offered Davis the bail in exchange for exclusive television rights to Davis's life story. Judge Carly Kearney denied Davis's bail again this morning, and afterward, Davis spoke up, claiming the prosecution ordered corrections officers to attack him in his cell.
They brutally beat me up, they attacked me and assaulted me.
Now, mind you, I can't play the video, but this was the same Keefe D that we saw. And this is not about trying to get into anybody's street politics. I got no business in there. But I did think it was egregious to see him on Vlad TV speaking as if nobody or anybody could touch him as he outlined pulling up to Tupac's car and eventually being the cause of his demise. I watched that video and couldn't believe the time period we were living in, but yet and still it happened. Here's somebody else, Keefe D, who is now going down for an egregious use or abuse of the reputation of Pac. And this is not trying to put Pac up there as some kind of like holy spiritual figure. I'm just saying it's a lot of coincidences happening right now.
And it was wrong. I told him I had cancer. I'm on blood thinners.
You've made very serious allegations regarding police brutality and the DA's orchestrating some sort of attack on you. I wasn't aware of any of this. Ultimately, I think you need to be aware of the things that you're saying.
They attacked me in the social media.
It's a hard year for those who have had crazy things to say about Tupac. One of those being somebody who can't seem to sit down and keep himself out the news. Hey, you remember this? There's a story I want to share with you guys one day that I don't know if you were around to see it. Before Not Like Us took all the attention of that battle, before all the chaos ensued afterwards, there once upon a time existed a song that I absolutely hated. I hated the idea of it. Remember that AI diss song that Drake recorded? The same Drake, mind you, who has a toilet that if you pee into it, it plays California Love. The same Drake that bought Tupac's ring, a dead man's ring, was the same one who said in his song Fear that I wouldn't cry if Tupac did, but I would cry if Jay-Z did. Well, you collector, colonizer, whatever you want to call it, why do you seem to be so obsessed with Mr. Pac, man? Remember that the Tupac estate threatened to sue Drake over his diss track using what appears to be in the rapper's AI-generated voice? Remember that?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
That's somebody else that seems to be having a rough year. Tupac curse? I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. Don't mind me. I'm just where there's smoke. You know how it is. When you go to sleep and you think you smell gas and you smell that, baby. You smell that. That's where we're at right now. I'm just looking around. You know who else had a very difficult time this year? Look, Yachty, you see all that stuff he got going on with all them folks he arguing with? You remember he had something crazy to say about Tupac? Remember he said, I never listened to Tupac and Biggie music. He called the music overrated. In the year of truth, why is so many people that was saying crazy shit about Tupac getting fucked up? Huh?
Have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Now, before you think I'm just making this theory up out of nothing, don't forget this very channel had a video. If you type it in, Tupac Curtis King. Do not forget, we made a video because not even 3 months ago, Tupac was still getting disrespected by Questlove and Drake in the same month. Remember Questlove said,
Hit Him Up to me is disqualified, not because of the overly vitriol. Yeah, the misogynist, like forget all that. It's like, dude, you're rhyming over like smooth jazz dinner music.
Dennis Edwards.
Like
Wow.
literally.
hey, my question is, why can't these people leave a dead man alone? Why they can't let the man rest in peace? Y'all better leave him alone. You know, I know curses and all of that is like, you know, some people don't believe in that kind of stuff, but I know some people who really believe that the Boston Red Sox had a curse. If you believe that there was a curse at Fenway Park, I believe that there's a curse on Tupac Lane. And y'all should have left that man alone. Lil Yachty going through a little Yachty, all of this stuff going on. I think it's really, really, really interesting. Let me know if I'm crazy. I might be, but I keep seeing a lot of things happening. And I wonder, in this year, could this be the year that these people have to answer for the disrespect? What honor?
Revolutionary salute to our brother Golden Mask for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Appreciate the love, family. Salute to you.
Do people take in disrespecting the legacy of someone who has passed away? Here's what I've kind of concluded about the way all these people have talked a crazy amount about his legacy. To me, this only solidifies how much he means, first of all, to the culture, how much he means to people, to a point where the man has not had an opportunity to update any of his thoughts since 1996. And he is still at the top of the headlines with people he's never met, some of which weren't even born when he passed away. Crazy theory, maybe the craziest theory we ever had. I do believe there's a Tupac curse going around, and I think that people better be very, very careful the way they maneuver in these streets. talking about not just Tupac, but anybody that has passed away. Let the people rest in peace. Those are my thoughts.
So, Cat Williams is reacting. Jay-Z could be dragged into this. And what the hell is going on with Usher? Hey guys, it's Rob Morale. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Back at again with another video. If you have not subscribed, click that button, guys. It is daily and consistent content. Comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And let's get straight into a lot of stuff that is still going on. So for some reason, as of 2 hours ago, Usher has removed all of his tweets. He's deleted them all, and I don't understand why. Can somebody explain to me what this man is doing? Obviously, it wasn't him himself. It was somebody in his team who has mysteriously deleted every single tweet of his. And I'm assuming because they've got things to hide, it's too coincidental. Why would you suddenly delete everything? I don't think he would be deleting all of his tweets if this was back at a moment where Diddy was not arrested. I just don't think that he would be doing that. Is he going to be thrown into the firing line next? Is his name going to be dragged? Is he going to be deposed? Is he going to be subpoenaed? Is he going to be dragged into court? Something like this might take place, because I just honestly find it to be a bit weird that for some reason he has deleted all of his tweets. So that is going on behind the scenes. Just wanted to let you guys know, and people are picking up on it and speaking about it. Now, Cat Williams is reacting to everything going on with Diddy, and he said that Diddy is about to snitch on people, mention their names to probably get a reduced sentence, is basically what he said. Now, Cat Williams was the one who let us all know at the beginning of this year that things were about to go crazy.
Big Dick Deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
He said that when Diddy offers you these parties, you have to say no. And I feel like a lot of people mock Cat Williams, but, you know, not only is he very intellectual, but he was right about everything. That interview went viral for a reason, because there was conviction in what he was saying.
Don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
And they have no one of these.
Amen.
And all of it has come into fruition. The truth is being revealed about all of this stuff that is happening and occurring. And I think that one thing that Cat Williams has is dignity that a lot of these people don't really have anymore, especially P. Diddy. So I take for what he says as face value. And if he said everything at the beginning of the year and it's come true, then I definitely taking this as true that P. Diddy is going to be snitching on people to get a reduced sentence and bring in other famous names and people and sing for the hills. That's basically what he's saying. And I just feel like when Cat Williams talks, I listen. Let's just say that. And I feel like we all listen, which is why that went viral in the first place. But to be honest with you, I am intrigued to know who he's going to snitch on and what names are going to take place, because the Sun is speaking. Leads me on to my next topic, that P. Diddy's famous friends could be subpoenaed and asked to testify if his trafficking case goes to trial, which it looks like it might. And Jay-Z could be one of those individuals who could be placed. Jay-Z and other celebrities can be subpoenaed, says a former prosecutor, the president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. But they will almost certainly, such as Jay-Z, assert their Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and refuse to testify. People who have participated in the act should especially be afraid, because they can also be charged with trafficking or prostitution, depending on whether they used threats or forced against the victims. If Jay-Z is just a witness who didn't participate in the acts, he may be subpoenaed to testify at trial. But I don't think he will be subpoenaed if he was a participant. He'll either be charged or not called to testify. If you're a prosecutor, you don't want witnesses who participated in criminal activity but are getting a pass. Interesting. So this prosecutor has spoken up on the idea that Jay-Z could be prosecuted about stuff. And, you know, I do feel like the famous friends can be dragged into this. I feel like they can definitely be the ones who have to come and tell their truth because they need to do so. But because of the Fifth Amendment rights in America, you can just refuse to testify, and it might make you look bad, if it comes out publicly. But who else could be forced to testify or asked to testify? Mary J. Blige, she was quite close as well. There are many people who are close to Diddy around that time. So many people at his parties. So anybody could really be forced to testify. I don't think there'll be big names, maybe Usher as well. I just think that him deleting all of those tweets, to me, is definitely an alarm bell. It's definitely an alarm bell when it comes to Diddy. And I think that a lot of people are not speaking about him as much for some reason. And I don't understand why. I just don't understand why people give him a pass. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We have another individual who's come forth, and basically she's come to New York Post to discuss the fact that how she was tricked into a freak off via Diddy, and how, he liked her and not her friend, and was bragging to her about how J-Lo was, the most famous, beautiful person in the world that, she was dating. But then he would cheat on J-Lo and bring this girl into the room and then have oral. And, this is where this story gets interesting. That's the main chunk of it. And I just wanted to read that out to you guys. But I think that this particular part of the story is very intriguing, where, things when ended after the intimacy between Diddy and this girl. That's when Kennedy recalled that Diddy's bodyguard allegedly became forceful with her. But this particular bodyguard was somebody who became very forceful with her, dragged her out, and, was very, very harmful. So this is very intriguing that this story has come out. People are just speaking out about their own freak-off stories and how she was tricked into them. I could read for you word for word verbatim in this particular story, but I feel like we've had so many of them by now that I don't need to read out every specific one. But basically she was tricked, and then, Diddy was cheating on J-Lo, and then the bodyguards came and was basically forceful with her, and Diddy did not care and was just laughing and smiling at the point, is basically the gist of the story. So people are going to be speaking out about what is going on. So I wanted to know what your thoughts are when it comes to all of this, when it comes to Diddy, when it comes to the fact that he might be snitching, Cat Williams, Usher, and everybody. I just want to know what your thoughts are. Do subscribe to the
What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on these updates as it pertains to Diddy. So there's a new woman that has come forth by the name of Thalia Graves, and she's alleging that Diddy, along with his bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, aka Big Joe, SA'd her back in 2001. Now, Natalia gave a very tearful and emotional press conference alongside of her lawyer, Gloria Allred, which isn't a good sign for Diddy because we know that Gloria Allred has a proven track record of taking on high-profile cases and winning those cases. This woman is far from a joke. In fact, this woman has been inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Now, I did watch the press conference, and there was not enough Kleenex for her because she was just crying that much. Now, I did see a lot of comments. A lot of people are calling cap. They're saying that she put on a performance and things of that nature. I learned a long time ago never to discredit women, especially when they come forward with serious accusations of being potentially awed by someone. I feel like women should be unapologetically unafraid to tell their story. They deserve to seek justice. And I really don't think that it's no one's place to say that a potential victim is lying about something as serious as this, unless the evidence comes out and proves otherwise. But anyway, I want to go ahead and play you guys these clips, and then I'll be back.
An 11th person has come out with accusations against Diddy. This is her. Her name is Thalia Graves. Graves and her lawyer say that they filed a civil suit in federal court this morning. They are alleging that Diddy and his head of security in 2001 SA'd her. And not only that, that it was recorded without her consent and that video was then sold. Talia says she was only 25 years old at the time, and she was dating somebody who worked for Diddy. They picked her up in an SUV. She was taken to his recording studio, and when she got into the vehicle, she was given a drink, and she started to feel dizzy soon after that. Talia said in a press conference that she is happy that Diddy is locked up, and ever since this happened, she has been suffering from anxiety and depression. They are seeking damages. The lawyer says that they want those damages to be determined at court. She was also asked if law enforcement has viewed the video and if law enforcement is considering new charges, new criminal charges against Diddy. Remember, this is a civil suit, and the lawyer simply said no comment.
What up, guys? Kevin West 10 TV. And another one, Delia Graves out of LA, said she woke up at a party. She had got, you know what I'm saying, whatever, and Puff Daddy was on top of her and another man. And they were, you know what I mean, you can take it from there. Man, I tell you something, boy, they putting that thick grandmama gravy on it. I'm talking about that gravy made from scratch. You know what I'm saying? In that cast iron skillet, boy. They trying to put that lava on it. I mean, man, I tell you, I mean, 23 years later, you know what I mean, what did he not do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I would have said something for then. I don't know why nobody wants to talk about it when it happened, but I'm not victim blaming, but damn, 23 years later. And I think in in New York, they can run something back on you alone like they did Trump, man. It's over with, man. You might as well cut, man, curtains. Man, they trying to put that man down in there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, boy, guys, I'm going to get up with y'all tomorrow, man, and telling you. And another one. Peace.
One of Diddy's accusers just came forward. Here are her own words. So Talia Graves said that the eternal pain after being regularly assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by enduring the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core of who you are and leaving emotional scars that you may never fully heal. Some of the hardest parts of this pain are the shame and guilt and experience that plays a negative part in my day-to-day ability to function properly. So being blamed, questioned, threatened has often made me feel worthless, isolated, and sometimes responsible for what happened to me. So my family issues made the pain even worse. I was already going through a divorce and did not get the support that I needed. Gloria Allred is her attorney representing her, and seeing how emotionally hard this was for Talia to share her story. Diddy should be ashamed of himself. I hope they throw the book at him. I have no doubt more people will be coming forward with their own stories, but I pray that they put Diddy in prison for the rest of his life. That is the least of what he deserves. I'm Peanut, and this is my perspective.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now, before we go any further, I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It is Talia. I've been saying Nathalia. I just don't want my ex-girlfriend from way back when to think that I'm thinking about her, because I'm not, okay? For some reason, I'm talking about Nathalia, and she watches my channel, and I know that I'm going to get a text here shortly saying, yeah, I'm still on your mind. No, you're not. Still love you, though. But anywho, it's important to note that after Talia was done speaking about the situation, she didn't take any questions from the press, but a lawyer did, and she might as well have not taken any questions either, because she didn't answer a damn thing. But knowing the track record of Gloria Allred, she wouldn't have took on this case if she didn't have her ducks in a row, and also if she didn't have solidified evidence to support her client. But we shall see what unfolds as it pertains to this case in the future. Now I want to move on and talk about the fact that they're saying that Diddy is not eating in jail. They're saying that he's not eating his food based upon the fact that he feels like somebody's going to try to poison him. Now, they're also saying that he's suffering from depression and anxiety. Now, although it may be true that he feels that somebody's out to get him, and that's why he won't eat his food, and the fact that he's suffering from panic attacks and things of that nature, which is natural, given the fact that he misses his kids and he's locked up, and for him to be coming from living this lavish lifestyle, and for him to get locked up and put in a jail where the living conditions are just unsanitary, with roaches and rats crawling all over the place. And listen, he put himself there, and it's well-deserved. But I also think that what he's going through right now, physically and emotionally, is the fact that he's experiencing withdrawals because he can't get to that pink stuff that he loves so much. And so Diddy is probably in there shaking and and earling all over the place because he can't get to them Uggs. You know what I'm talking about, guys. And so I want you guys to check out this clip, and then I'll be back.
Diddy has been moved, and we have an upcoming court date. And by the way, if you don't already, hit that follow button so you stay up to date.
So while Diddy is still physically in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, he is no longer in solitary and has been moved more to a Gen Pop type of setting. Now, this is still not the regular Gen Pop that you would think. He's been moved to a special protection unit that is described as having barracks and housing about 18 to 20 inmates who are either awaiting trial or investigation or are high profile like Diddy. And to give you an example, somebody else who's there is notorious crypto fraudster, con man, Sam Bankman-Fried is in the unit that Diddy's now in. The other thing that I can share with you is apparently Diddy has stopped eating while in jail, allegedly because of fears of being poisoned. Apparently, a source close to Diddy has said that Diddy is scared and paranoid that someone might try to poison him. That source went on to say that Diddy has a lot of information on a lot of people who have a lot of money and that they could easily pay to have something happen to Diddy while on the inside through his food, making it appear like an accident. Now, as far as the next court date goes, there was a hearing scheduled on October 9th at around 2 p.m. I don't know what this hearing is in regards to, but I'm sure we'll find out in the near future. Now, don't forget to hit that follow button and drop in the comments. Do you think that Diddy is justified in not eating? Do you think that he should be in fear, or do you think that he's just being paranoid?
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now, I'm about to say something, and I want you guys to hear me out before you drop down in the comments and go off, okay? I feel that we need to protect Diddy at all costs. And the reason why I say that is because we know how we feel about what we think happened to Jeffrey Epps. And the fact that Jeffrey Epps was taken out of here, that's what we all believe, right? Because of the information he has. There's a lot of people that will never ever face the justice system and be convicted for the wrong things that they did along with him. We need Diddy to stay alive so he can be able to bring everybody else down around him that committed those egregious crimes with him. And it's probably hard for some of you guys to fathom this, but there are people within the Hollywood realm that have done way worse. Now, of course, I want Diddy to be in jail for years upon years upon years upon years. But what I'm saying is, I know that we can't do anything physically or systematically to protect Diddy, but we just need to let the justice system know that we're watching. We're watching their every move, because if something happens to Diddy and he doesn't even make it to trial, we will then know that Diddy had a lot of information on a lot of people and they were afraid of being held accountable for the crimes that they committed. And then with Diddy being potentially silenced, you still have the same predators roaming around Hollywood that will continue this cycle of abuse that needs to stop. And so let me be the first to protest right now. Long live Diddy behind those bars, because we need him right now to snitch on everybody to clean up the streets of Hollywood. So long live Diddy behind bars.
There's a collateral issue that may be here. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. But they can't have this guy do a suicide. It would look kind of funny. Now imagine if somebody got to one of the correctional officers, and this could happen. They don't make a lot of money. And there's people out there that he has things on that do have a substantial amount of money. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. And this is why I'm advocating for Diddy to stay alive so he can bring down the whole entire industry with him when he decides to go ahead and just snitch on everybody. This is why we need this man to stay alive. There are so many families out there that deserve justice because they've been violated by certain members of this Hollywood realm. There are a lot of people, a lot of family members that are missing loved ones because they're no longer here, because they were violated by members of the Hollywood elite club. And so this is why we need Diddy to stay alive, to go ahead and just burn it all the way down to the ground. But anyway, I want to move along and I want to talk about Christian Combs because he posted a statement in regards to the passing of his mother. And basically, it seems as though to me that it came from a lawyer, but it could have been his own words. And I want to take the time to read to you all what he posted. And it says here, we have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as about our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. Claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue. She did not, and anyone claiming to have manuscript is misrepresenting themselves. Additionally, please understand that any so-called friend speaking on behalf of our mom or her family is not a friend, nor do they have her best interest at heart. Our lives were shattered when we lost our mother. She was our world, and nothing has been the same since she's passed. While it has been incredibly difficult to reconcile how she could be taken from us too soon, the cause of her passing has long been established. There was no foul play. Grief is a lifelong process, and we ask that everyone respect our request for peace as we continue to cope with her loss every day. We are deeply saddened that the world has made a spectacle of what has been the most tragic event of our lives. Our mother should be remembered for the beautiful, strong, kind, and loving woman she was. Her memory should not be tainted by horrific conspiracy theories. We ask that everyone please respect our mother, Kim Porter, and hold her legacy in high regard so that she may rest in peace. It's what she deserves. We love you and miss you, Mommy. Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah. Now, even though I feel like there's a PR person or maybe even a lawyer behind this and that they're trying to do some type of damage control because, you know, they're about to reopen this case in regards to Kim Porter's passing, let's just say that Christian Combs wrote this up, drew this up, and posted it on his Instagram. I just feel like even though he's coming for bloggers like me and other people that have spoken on the passing of his mom because we believe that something happened to her other than pneumonia, I just feel like this was a direct shot at Al B. Sure because he recently came out and advocated and in the same process alerted the feds to reopen the investigation into what really happened to Kim Porter. And what's crazy about this dynamic is the fact that Al B. Sure has a whole biological son that's on Diddy's side. I just don't know what's the disconnect between Al B. Sure and Quincy. I understand that Quincy felt that Al B. Sure wasn't present enough in his life when he was younger. But ask yourself, why wasn't he present enough? You had this man in Diddy that really wanted to take him out. You know, there was a lot of fear that Al could have had. I'm not saying that Al fears the man. I'm pretty sure that he feared the power that Diddy had and the people around him, you know? But it's just crazy to me. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys to drop down in the
Y'all should have learned with Puff. Y'all should have learned with Hov. Y'all dealing with a different kind of animal here.
And his mentor was
Andre Well.
Tell us how
who was mentored by Clive Davis.
I don't know what could motivate a person to have a party in a building where the person whose life he had influenced.
If you've ever pondered how Diddy ended up being so shady with all the stories swirling around about him, well, it seems we might finally have an answer to that because Kanye West might have just dropped a bombshell on us. Word on the street is that Clive Davis, the music industry bigwig, might be the puppet master behind Diddy's villainous behavior. It's rumored that Davis schooled Diddy on the art of manipulation, how to use people, exploit them for their talents and bodies, and then toss them aside once they've served their purpose or stopped making bank. If these whispers hold any truth, then Clive Davis could be even more twisted than Diddy himself. And considering the laundry list of accusations against Diddy, that's saying something. So folks, grab your popcorn because we're about to unravel one heck of a scandal.
So I have been on a mission to try to unearth, peel back the layers of the onion. You know, Diddy is just the fall guy. Diddy is just the guy, the flavor, you know, of the year right now in terms of all the things that he's done. He's the fall guy, but we know, like they said, he's learned this from somewhere. He's been part of this music industry for decades, and he didn't just come up with this stuff all on his own. This has been rumored that Hollywood has these type of things going on, whether it's the Illuminati, Hollywood cabal, Hollyweird, where they use, you know, sexual blackmail in order to gain control over people. That is actually part of what the whole kind of Illuminati is supposed to be about. Now, whether you believe in that or not, we can see from this, whether you call it that or not, that the accusations, what Diddy's been charged with, what we know so far, and only what we know so far, we don't even have every detail of what has gone on, which we know is probably much worse than what we know, that these things are real. Okay, that these type of initiations are real. What they call it an initiation. In order to get fame, they have to have something on you. In order for you get the green light, you have to owe them, and they have to own you. Okay, so that is what we're seeing. And it's not just sexual favors, but we're talking about taking people out, people being killed, people being, family members being killed. There have been rumors of these things, there's been innuendos, but now we need to look at this, study it more so that we can see the full picture. Of course, we want to focus on what Diddy has been doing, but guys, there is more to it. Does anyone believe it? Oh, it just stops with him or just like low level celebrities? No, there are higher ups. Okay, names that need to be brought forth. And even the names that we see, we're talking about Clive Davis in this video, but there's people that live in the shadows that are probably, I guess what you would call them, the puppet masters. And again, this gives more credence to all of the things that people have said about the Illuminati and how Hollywood works and how you have to basically sell your soul in order to make it. You have to, even if you make it on your own initially, in order to keep going, in order for them to promote your music, all of these, for you to get an acting role, you have to sacrifice yourself or something else in order to get ahead. So let's get into this and grab your popcorn, like she said. Also, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also, subscribe to my channel below, Melanie Off Script. I'm going to be doing reactions to a lot of other things over there, a diversity of topics that you're going to want to be interested in. I'm actually going to be going over and reacting to Kamala Harris's her tax policy that almost every tax expert says is absolutely insane. I mean, there are multiple people who have made videos about it, and I want to break that down because I think, not making it so political, but like we need to understand what are these policies and not just, voting or deciding on things because of emotions and because, a wave of thing, there's this strong wave or whatever you feel. There needs to be an understanding and a discernment of these things because they're going to affect our lives. And just because a celebrity endorses somebody, we're talking about celebrities now, we already know they have no morals. They are doing things for themselves. You and I are normal people. We have to be informed on a different level. They can just kind of throw out something and it doesn't mean anything to them. But with that, let's get into it.
Start with the long-standing conspiracy swirling around Whitney Houston's tragic passing. Kanye recently spoke about how Hollywood elites will often stage a celebrity death to make it look like they unalive themselves. And fans are now saying that this is exactly what happened to Whitney.
You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that.
See, just hours after Whitney was discovered in her hotel room bathtub, her longtime mentor Clive Davis held a pre-Grammy party in the same hotel, and he allegedly knew that Whitney's body was still in the building. It's been 11 years since Whitney Houston, one of the greatest, if not the greatest singers of all time, passed away, and Whitney's fans are still hoping the real truth of her death will come out one day. See, there are so many different conspiracy theories about Whitney's final days, but the most popular one involves Whitney's mentor and record producer Clive Davis. After Kanye West recently exposed the dark side of the music industry and claimed that Hollywood executives had built a system to traumatize and monetize celebs, Whitney Houston's fans reignited the conversation about Clive Davis's infamous 2012 pre-Grammy party, and most of them are even saying that Clive was somehow involved in Whitney's death. To give you some context, Whitney Houston died on February 11th, 2012, on the same day she was supposed to perform at Clive's pre-Grammy Awards party at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. But just hours before the scheduled party, Whitney's assistant discovered Whitney lying face down in a bathtub filled with water. Whitney was unresponsive, and her assistant called Whitney's bodyguard, Ray Watson, to help her get Whitney out of the tub. Ray later told the Mirror that the scene in the bathroom was surreal, and he panicked because he couldn't understand what happened to Whitney. "I couldn't tell if she was alive or dead," Ray said. "I got her out of the water and tried to revive her. Then it was all crazy." Whitney's assistant and her bodyguard called 911, and the paramedics arrived at Whitney's hotel room at 3:30 p.m. They performed CPR, but sadly it was too late, and at 3:55 p.m., Whitney Houston was pronounced dead.
We have breaking news tonight out of Los Angeles, the death of singing star Whitney Houston at the age of 48.
Now, the cause of why Whitney died wasn't immediately known, and the local police said that there were no obvious signs of intent. However, after conducting an autopsy and running toxicology tests, the LA County Coroner's Office concluded that Whitney's death was caused by drowning, combined with the effects of heart disease and use. And though the autopsy report noted external trauma on Whitney's body, the coroner ruled that there were no signs of foul play. However,
she has external trauma on her body. The bodyguard couldn't tell if she was dead or alive. She just randomly died in this bathtub, but she had wounds on her body. But yet it was this deemed it was an accidental death. Does that make sense to anybody? And if you think that a coroner and the people in the police department, the politicians, people are not part of this and covering this up, aren't paid off, aren't in the pocket of these people, especially when you're talking about LA, you're talking about Hollywood, you are delusional. How in the world could she have external wounds? Could she have wounds on her body's abrasions, but yet she just died in that bathtub all just randomly?
However, Whitney's fans felt that there was something suspicious about the whole thing, and the speculation reached a boiling point after it was revealed that Clive Davis decided to go through with his pre-Grammy party at the Beverly Hilton after he learned Whitney died. Now just think about this for a second. The Whitney Houston died, and her longtime mentor and other celebs were totally fine dancing and having fun while Whitney's body was above the banquet room. As for Clive, he claimed that he wanted to pay tribute to Whitney because that's what she would have wanted, and he insisted that Whitney's family didn't ask him to cancel the party.
Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing. But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
Did you give a thought to canceling?
Never.
You never thought?
Never.
Did you ever think?
And the family did not want me to give a thought. No.
However, several Whitney's friends and family have since come forward to say that Clive disrespected Whitney by partying at the same hotel where she died just hours before. In fact, Whitney's longtime friend Chaka Khan said Clive's decision to go through with the party was insanity, and it was actually the opposite of what Whitney would have wanted.
And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything.
Chaka Khan also criticized Clive for saying that the party was a tribute to Whitney because it simply made no sense that someone who supposedly loved and cared about Whitney would have the strength to party hours after she died. Besides that, there have also been speculation that Whitney was beaten before she died. And though the official autopsy report made no mention of this, several industry insiders, including Jaguar Wright, claim that Whitney's family saw her body was beaten.
They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
And then on top of all that, a clip recently resurfaced on social media that shows just 2 days before Whitney's passing, she crashes an interview with Brandy and Clive Davis. She hands Brandy a secret note and nobody knows what was written on it. Rumor has it was a warning to Brandy about Clive, but the contents remain a mystery. And then what's also incredibly disturbing is just 3 years after Whitney died, her only child, Bobby Christina, also passed away in the same manner as Whitney. On January 31st, 2015, Bobby's former fiance, Nick Gordon, and another friend found Bobby face down in a bathtub in her home in Georgia. Bobby was still alive and breathing when the paramedics arrived, and doctors placed her in an induced coma. However, after being in a coma for nearly 6 months, Bobby Christina died on July 26, 2015 at the age of 22. The initial autopsy found no obvious underlying cause of death and no significant injuries. However, it was later determined that the underlying cause of death was immersion associated with intoxication, but the manner of death could not be confirmed, and the autopsy report stated that the medical examiner was not able to determine whether the death was due to intentional or accidental causes. And then in July 2020, Nick Gordon, Bobby's former fiance who discovered her body, also died of a suspected OD. Bobby Christina's dad, Bobby Brown, later claimed that Nick was involved in both Whitney and Bobby Christina's deaths by supplying them with. However, fans still dismiss these claims, pointing out that Bobby was probably trying to deflect from the fact that he was the one who introduced to Whitney. Fans are also saying that Whitney's substance use and the way she obtained those substances is beside the point. And we need to look at the bigger picture and the people who profited from her death. Of course, fans are now pointing the finger at Clive Davis, and some of them are even saying that Clive's pre-Grammy party was a blood ritual. So if these people profited from Whitney's work, what would they have to gain from her being dead? Well, when we're talking about huge stars like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and Prince, they're actually worth more dead than alive, because when someone big like that dies, their catalog instantly starts doing crazy numbers. Also, the celebs can never challenge the labels and others involved for the full control of their music. Now, when it comes to Clive Davis, as of of February 2024, he has a net worth of $900 million, which makes him one of the richest men in the music industry. Now, to be clear, Clive didn't earn all his money after Whitney died. He's been building his fortune for a very long time. However, Whitney's fans are still convinced that Clive is somehow involved with Whitney's death, and they're saying that this is exactly what Kanye warned us about. Now, shift the spotlight to Diddy.
And I did a video about Lucian Grange. I have not broken that fully down, but he is considered the most powerful man in music. And his ties, it has been alleged, okay, Little Rod alleged in his lawsuit about Diddy that he would actually, that Lucian Grange would actually come over Diddy's house late at night. They would go into his bedroom for hours. Okay. And it is said that Lucian Grange is who schooled Diddy on the freak offs and did all these things. Again, this is all alleged. So we're talking about another big executive in the music industry where there's a lot of shady information about him. Kanye West also talked about him. So it's important to bring him up in this conversation. So we have Clive Davis and now Lucian Grange. And as we continue to peel this back, we're going to see how they're connected to more deaths, more things that have happened. And just so you know, Lucian Grange, I mean, every person he is tied to, I think 70% of the music that's played in the United States is owned by Lucian Grange or one of his entities. Okay. And so in anybody that he just deems that should become popular, or whoever gets in his good graces, they're the person you see next become a star. When they talk about industry plants, people who just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden they're blowing up, it's not because they're just independent artists who just grew organically. Though that's delusion. That's Disney wishes and dreams. Those things aren't happening anymore. You are handpicked, you are plucked from something. He also talked about how Lucian Grange is the he talked about how Lucian Grange is the sugar daddy to Drake and P. Diddy. And we know all of the things that have come out about Drake when he was in that beef with Kendrick Lamar. That's another video I need to break down. Many of you may not know about this. Some of my audience is not familiar with any of these things. And this is why I want to show this video because and talk about this, because you need to understand the bigger picture of what's been going on. And this video, just so you know, was like she talked about February of 2024. This video was from February of 2024, but it is so much more relevant now that we see what has happened in the whole P. Diddy scandal.
And it's like deja vu. Artists and people around him tend to pass away mysteriously, just like we saw with Biggie, Kim Porter, and the whole alleged Tupac situation. Let's check out some examples. Jaguar Wright dropped some bombshell thoughts about Biggie's death, hinting it might not have been a random tragedy, but a strategic move by Diddy and Bad Boy Records. According to her, Puffy's been cashing in on Biggie's name longer than the dude was even alive. Imagine that. Biggie hadn't even hit 25, and it's been over 25 years since he passed, with Puffy still raking it in. She says, Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive. People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when he died. It's been over 25 years. Effing Puffy has been making money on that boy's name longer than he lived. It supported all of Bad Boy. His catalog, clearly a Biggie small verse, is very valuable.
Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive. People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when he died.
Wright's got questions about The Commission, an album Biggie was working on before he passed. She vents The Commission. What happened to that album? It was recorded. It was being mixed and mastered upon Biggie's death. It was supposed to have come out that summer after Biggie's album because Biggie's album was slated. He died a week and a half before his album came out. Then The Commission was supposed to come out, and that was supposed to be his exit from Bad Boy and then starting his own company.
It was recorded. It was being mixed and mastered upon Biggie's death. It was supposed to have came out that summer after Biggie's album because Biggie's album was slated. Now, then The Commission was supposed to come out, and that was supposed to be his exit from Bad Boy and then starting his own company.
Now, here's where it gets kind of creepy. Wright throws in an eerie twist by mentioning the spooky number of deaths tied to Diddy, especially back in the Uptown Records days. She said, I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people: Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, Puffy. Kim was the longest employee. She was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Ain't that interesting? She continued.
Not only that, but with Al B. Sure, his son, okay, Quincy was Kim Porter's son. Okay, so Albie Shore and Kim Porter had a son, right? And his name is Quincy. Diddy essentially took that child away from Albie Shore and took Kim Porter away from Albie Shore. And it also killed Albie Shore's career. Right. So all of these things, and then Albie Shore he was recently, when he spoke out about Diddy, he was mysteriously got sick and was in a coma for months. And this happened recently. There is just a lot of weirdness with this. Also, Diddy's oldest son, Justin Combs, allegedly is not his son. He looks exactly like Diddy's former friend and bodyguard, who also was killed. But he took that son and said that that's my child now. So there's all these things where everybody has died around him, and he's taken, whether it's their children, he's taken their women, he's taken their money, he's taken their company, and now only he's left standing. This is beyond just a coincidence. Have you even heard of something like that? Everyone around this man dies. Everyone he's involved with who is like on his level dies. But somehow it's just we're just reaching, we're just tying, weird dots together. And then we see deaths like Whitney Houston and other people. And it's just, it doesn't mean anything. And Albie Shore was supposed to be part of that. And then Heavy D, guys, there's so much to investigate, and Jaguar Wright has been one of the main people to come out and speak about these things. And a lot of people thought she was crazy, but most of the things she has said have turned out to be true.
Continued saying, "You want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book just before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B was working on a documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma."
Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting? You want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books.
She wonders, saying, "Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest mother F, because it seems that everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the Get's beginning are gone. Just him remaining."
Anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning.
Also, let's rewind to 1991 in a Harlem basement gym where a serious tragedy went down. Diddy, still a small-time promoter, organized a basketball charity event that turned into a nightmare. Picture this. An insane stampede broke out because a massive crowd wanted to catch a glimpse of celebs like Boys II Men and Heavy D playing in the game. By the end of the day, on December 28, 1991, 9 people were dead and at least 29 others were injured. The gym was packed with over 3,000 people, way more than it could handle. Rumors even started swirling that Diddy might have sacrificed them for wealth and fame. Gene Deal, who used to work security for Diddy.
So that's Gene Deal. Remember, I said that his oldest son, Justin, is supposed to be his, right?
That's
well, the woman that he had, Misha, the woman that he had the child with, used to date him, the bodyguard. And Diddy actually wanted her for himself, just like he did. Kim Porter was dating Albie Shore, and Diddy wanted her for himself. These women had children with those other men, and Diddy now has co-opted those children as his own, allegedly. If you look at his oldest son, Justin Combs, that he claims is his blood son, not like Quincy. Quincy is known to have been like adopted, even though Albie Shore never gave him up. Okay, he was adopted by Diddy. Well, he looks identical to that man. Nothing like Diddy. If you look at Diddy's children, who are his biological children, they look just like him. They have his facial features. But the child that is not his, the son, that is that man's twin that you see on the screen right now.
Warned him about the chaos. People needed to clear the entrance, but Diddy just didn't care.
If they don't do a boxing one outside and get these kids off the door, somebody gonna die tonight. He said, Gene, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
There were 2 lines, one for those with advance tickets and another for those buying at the door. The slow process got on everyone's nerves. Fights broke out, and when the doors finally closed, all hell broke loose. The crowd outside rushed in, causing chaos. People shoved, windows broke, and it turned into a disaster. A survivor named Jonas described her trauma, talking about how she got shoved through a glass window with people piling on top of her. It was crazy. She couldn't even catch a breath. How we survived is myself and my 2 friends. We got into a bathroom stall, Jones explains. There were literally people that were laying on the ground, and the 3 of us got into a bathroom stall, and we hid in the bathroom until everything died down. Before leaving for the event, Jones says she'd stuck a tangerine in the pocket of her leather jacket, meaning to eat it beforehand, but never got the chance. When we finally got out of there, I reached into my pocket and there was nothing left but the skin of the tangerine, she recalls. It stained my lovely jacket, and I kept that jacket for years as a reminder. Meanwhile, down at the bottom of the stairs, the person checking tickets saw things getting wild as folks tried to push inside. Instead of helping out, they got up, went inside, and shut the door, which only opened outward. Now, imagine the scene at the bottom. The crowd had nowhere to go, getting slammed against the doors by clueless people at the top, still trying to squeeze in. It turned into a mess with injured folks strewn about, getting trampled, fainting, you name it. It took a painful 15 minutes before anyone figured out what was happening. And get this, the basketball game was still going on. When they finally opened the gym doors, the folks inside said it felt like being packed against the walls, packed in like sardines. Now, switching gears to Diddy's wild journey and the deaths tied to it. The big question that hits you is Diddy some accidental bad luck charm? Or are these just crazy coincidences in the chaotic music world? The whole eerie vibe of death hanging around Diddy makes you wonder how these events might be connected. There's also been rumors buzzing for years about Clive Davis and Diddy being more than just industry colleagues. Sources spill the tea, claiming the 2 have been an item for a solid 5 years, and they weren't exactly discreet about it. From epic parties to hush-hush meetups, it seems these 2 have been living their best lives. Rumors are saying that Diddy's been a victim too, apparently an intimate slave to Clive Davis. Now, if you really think about it, it's kind of weird. Diddy
also saying that Diddy was passed around by these industry bigwigs, by these executives, is an initiation. Okay, what was done to him, he started doing to others. He learned how to do things, how to become this ruthless music executive from the executives that already existed. Okay, and then they offered him protection. He had protection. That's what Diddy has been getting away with this stuff for years. And there's been this code of silence. And anyone has spoken out has either died, deemed as crazy, or disappeared. And so, and then you look and you see, how deep this goes. You're going to tell me that the music industry didn't know about this, that this wasn't part of what they knew was going on. It was alleged in a new lawsuit that that executives saw, that business people, they saw Diddy beating on Cassie, even in a meeting, and said nothing. This is actually in a new lawsuit brought by one of Diddy's former, he had a group called Danny Kane and Don Richard. She says that like everyone knew, everyone saw these things, everyone participated in it. And then if you even spoke out, if you even thought about it, your life was threatened. You were scared that either your livelihood will be taken away and you will be disappeared, or your life will be taken, your reputation, everything will be removed from you. So it was this strict code of silence. People were scared to say anything. But now that Diddy is going away, that these things have been exposed, he's been sacrificed, he's run out his usefulness to the big wigs, to the people who are really running things, that now they can feel more free to speak about it. Because again, we know Diddy, in my opinion, will never see the light of day. He is held in that detention center, and I think he's going to be found guilty because the Southern District of New York, their conviction rate is 99%. So when they come with a case, they don't come, just hoping and wishing. It's not like in Georgia, with Fannie Willis trying to do a RICO and it's ghetto and built on a bunch of mess. No, they put their things together. So when they come with a case, best believe you need to be, you better hope that you're the 1% who don't get convicted. So Diddy most likely is not going to see the light of day again. Right. So for some reason, they want to get rid of him. And we need to understand why. If he's been doing their bidding for years, if he's been controlling things for years, what did he do? A lot of people, and even a reporter for ET, said all of this kicked off because of his lawsuit, the the things that he got into with Diageo, the liquor company. And from that, and many people have said that somehow Diageo, as huge distributor, they whatever ties they had, they knew about Diddy, all these things, and it gave the green light for to take Diddy out, for all of this to unravel. Now, again, that is all alleged, but that is where it's saying it's the business deals. He's pissed off. He pissed off the wrong person, essentially. He thought he could get away with it. He thought he had protection, but little did he know he finally met his match, and this is how the green light came on him to finally get rid of him.
He was just an intern at Uptown Records in 1990, got the boot in 1993, and suddenly he's starting Bad Boy Records in cahoots with Arista Records, owned by Clive Davis, the big shot behind TLC, Whitney Houston, and Brandy. Now, Bad Boy Records became a massive hit, but back in the day, Diddy was pretty much a rookie in the game. So here's the mystery. How did he convince Clive to bankroll his record label? It's not like Clive was super confident about Bad Boy Records making it big. He admitted it himself. In an interview, he spilled the beans, saying Diddy basically pressured him, claiming that hip-hop was going to take over the top 40. Sounds unlikely, right? But Diddy played him some Craig Mack and Notorious big tracks when they were still under the radar, and Clive saw the music landscape shifting. He said, Sean Combs convinced me that top 40 was going to embrace hip-hop. It seemed so unlikely then, but when he played me Craig Mack's Flava in Your Ear and Notorious big material when he was totally unknown, this 22-year-old guy was seeing how music was changing. Bad Boy Records was
So Clive Davis starts bankrolls a 21-year-old, 22-year-old to run an entire record company, just random, even though he was just an intern. He hadn't really done anything yet, but all of a sudden he's given the green light to do this when there were other bigger names that were out there, but for some reason Diddy was chosen, and he's barely an adult. You're telling me he trusted millions of dollars with him, just like he was just a normal kind of, guy?
Diddy's dream. Not exactly Clive's cup of tea, but Clive still threw in the cash. Now, with all the new info spilling out, it seems we're finally getting some answers. Jaguar Wright recently dropped a bombshell. She's claiming Diddy allegedly was R-worded and S-A'd by his mentor, Andre Harrell, the Uptown Records starter. And she's saying Andre himself was allegedly S-A'd by Clive Davis. She said, my focus right now is Sean Combs. He is a SEXTFK, and he is using music and entertainment to SEXTFK. She continued saying, from what I've heard and from sources I would consider reliable, it really doesn't matter if it's boys or girls. I don't think SEX has anything to do with gender at this point for Sean. I honestly think that he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most probably because he was victimized by his mentor who loved to control people, and his mentor was Andre Harrell, who was mentored by Clive Davis.
Okay. Tell us why.
Because he's a and he's using music and entertainment to who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor.
She continued saying, I'm telling you, I don't know what happened between Andre and Clive. What I do know is that Andre got passed over. Like, how do you go from being the president of Uptown and losing your entire company to your intern? Like, Puff started out as an intern. The plot thickens because the numbers just isn't adding up. Diddy's always been giving props to Clive, even in 2019 after snagging the Grammy Icon Award. He was like, Clive Davis and Arista Records gave me a chance when I was starting Bad Boy Records. He was one of the first industry executive to really believe in me. I'm forever grateful for him. But here's the thing. If the latest buzz is on point, Clive didn't fund Bad Boy and sideline Andre just because he believed in Diddy's talent. Nope, it might have been because there was some secret business happening between Clive and Diddy. Also, Clive Davis himself has had some SA allegations tossed his way, and he's come out as bi too. After a couple of marriages and divorces, Clive went on a journey of self-discovery, digging into his attraction to men. In a pretty brave move, he spilled the beans about not being strictly hetero, even though he thought he was for the first 50 years of his life.
It was just something that whether you could be attracted to the person, regardless of gender.
After this revelation, Clive decided to dive into a relationship with a guy, figuring it was the next chapter in his book at the time. Fast forward to 1990, he got into a monogamous thing with a mystery male doctor, and that ride ended in 2004. Clive's been pretty upfront about it, saying, "I never felt shame. No, I felt puzzled. The subject of bi really needs much more discussion. It's a status that does exist." Legend has it that Clive's now in a solid relationship with another dude, going to events and jet setting together, but the name is on the down low. Nevertheless, Diddy seems to be the go-to guy for Clive at events, and it's not just a casual run-in. Now, hanging out at the same parties might not be concrete proof, but when you factor in that both Clive and Diddy are openly gay and constantly spotted together, it's kind of screaming connection. Their tight bond has been a thing for a while, and during this time, Clive's been in a committed relationship with a guy, while Diddy's faced some whispers about being in the closet. Considering all this, the idea that there might be a romantic spark between these two isn't far-fetched. Clive's been pretty open about his sex preference and relationships, but he's not shutting down these rumors, adding some weight to them. And Diddy's keeping mum too, but his actions have raised a few eyebrows too. With everything we know of Diddy now, it's obvious that he learned them from someone. The word is, Diddy sold his soul back in the day to Clive Davis, right there in the office, on his knees, and that Davis molded him into the shady character we know today, teaching him all the dark arts of the industry. But karma's no joke, and Diddy's starting to feel the heat for his actions. Makes you wonder if old Clive might face a reckoning too. Hollywood's got some wild stuff going on behind the scenes. It's pretty insane to think about this never-ending cycle. What do you guys think about this bomb?
Guys, the rumors of Diddy being with Mim, it Little Rock, everyone has said this. We have known this. People have talked about it. It's just been innuendo. Of course, we don't have any concrete proof, but keep in mind the FBI has those tapes, the tapes that Diddy essentially filmed everyone involved in these different actions and involved in these freak offs and these and men on men action was a big thing, even though women are the only ones talked about in the trafficking thing. And I feel as though that is out there, but that the FBI has that information, but for some reason they're holding it back. Is it for trial? Is it to hang over his head? Say this is going to come out to make Diddy to spill the beans on other people? Even Kanye said that he's actually a Fed, that he's a federal informant, and that's why he's been protected all these years. What was it that finally the FBI, everyone just coming down on Diddy, what was the final nail in the coffin? And then speaking of Clive Davis, you didn't know for 50 years that you were attracted to men, that you were gay? Really? Is that what we're going to believe now, folks? At 50 years old, you finally realized, not that he was in the closet all this time. He didn't say that. He realized that that's what his attraction is. No, or that's what you've been doing on the down low all this time, but you kept it under wraps. And now suddenly you feel free because you feel like you're untouchable and that you can kind of live your best life. But guys,
who have done a little bit of homework and know who you are, why should they believe you about what you think and feel about Sean Diddy Combs and any allegations against him, given your history of animosity with him?
Well, first of all, I'm not calling you and nobody else to get nobody to believe anything regarding him. Like I said, and I always say, me personally, I don't jump up and down and cheer for no black man going to prison or any other man, any other human being going to prison. Because people think prison is always the answer. I'm not saying a lot of people don't deserve to do their time and see what's going on. But at the same time, that's not no cheerful thing, because when you look at it, that man have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever affects him definitely affects his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know there's a lot of victims involved in it, and whatever affects them affects their kids. So it's not a good thing to be talking about any shit about the next person. But it's not a gray area with me. And at the same time, Puffy didn't react or get where he got or doing those things or those allegations by himself. He was taught from people before him, and he did it to the younger people after him. And we can talk all day and say what's true and what's not true. Only true part about it is videos, conversations, and people can see what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
But for it being happy and proud and say, what do people think? That's irrelevant.
So, Suge.
It's just like I heard earlier today when Ray J was talking to TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
I got love for Harvey, but I see Charles always got something negative to say when it comes to West Coast people. And Charles tried to make a reference to say that, how do I feel when I'm in prison? Yeah, I'm in prison. I guarantee you I'm free more than Charles. If I feel like sleeping to 5 o'clock, or I want to sleep 12 hours a day, I can.
Sure.
But besides all that, the fact is, it's not no competition who's going to talk the loudest or talk the best. It's not something positive that can help anybody. I don't get on no platforms unless it be something positive. If it ain't positive.
I understand what you're saying. I want you to try to make some positive points here. I get what you're saying about TMZ, but that's not really my interest, as you might imagine. My interest is in what you can help people understand about these allegations that Diddy is facing and what you believe he's facing on the inside. Now, what's most interesting to me is that you seem to see Diddy as kind of an Epstein kind of figure, that Jeffrey Epstein, that a lot of people know what Diddy was about, and they were about the same thing, and that's why they're quiet. That's why J-Lo and Ben Affleck got divorced, because of videos that he has of her that now they know about. Where is this coming from with you? What do you believe about the people around Diddy and what everybody knows?
Well, first of all, you got to start with at the top. If you're starting with the top, Clyde Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre Arell, Jimmy Iovine. Even if you take Jimmy Iovine, he had an allegation from him, same thing, it went away. You take Jimmy Iovine. They told me at Universal and Interscope, they said, you know what? We can't deal with artists that gets in trouble. And your artist gets in trouble, they talk crazy.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Keep going, Suge.
They speak about what they see. Now, I was told that I can't do business there because of that. Now, Doug Morris gave Puffy a deal for millions of dollars. It flopped. So when you look at all these things and everybody want to say Puffy, 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 don't get me wrong. Yeah, Puffy stepped in this shit, and even if he wiped the shit off his shoe, it still stinks. But he's not the only one. They got all the tapes.
Now, when you talk about the tapes,
but this been going on for a long time.
Hold on, Suge. Help us understand, because a lot of this stuff is a little inside baseball for people, right? Because they don't live the life, they don't know the world, they don't know the players.
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's just the recording from the prison. That's just saying that they record it, which obviously they do. Suge, help people understand, what tapes are you talking about? Who has them? And what kinds of things do you think they show?
Well, number one, luckily, I wasn't their first choice. Their second choice, I wasn't no choice to be at those freaky parties. But you know what they show. They used to have a thing in the industry, right? And the sad thing about it, I don't like mentioning Usher. I don't like mentioning Justin Bieber. I don't like mentioning all these people that everybody know what time it is. So at the same time, they used to have a joke. They never played this joke with me. And they used to walk in the Interscope office. They'd go back there and they'd be like, hey, we passed the test. I said, we haven't did the test. One dude said, well, don't say that in front of Mr. Knight because he's going to take it offensive and hurt somebody. I said, well, whatever it is, I probably will take it offensive when somebody will get their ass whooped. You know, that was me in those days. But they used to have these guys, they used to call it the boiled egg test. They used to take a boiled egg, a raw boiled egg, and have those guys put their pants down and bend over and they stick it up their ass. The eggs break, they say they're not ready yet. They ain't put enough work in. This is Hollywood. So everybody want to go act like they don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second,
but
Suge.
if you just look.
Suge,
You gotta do
I have never heard of anything like that.
Wow.
So if I haven't heard about it, just assume a lot of people haven't heard that before. But you think it's on video?
Let's stop for a second.
Go ahead, Shug.
If the airplane thing
also, have you ever been to any puffy parties?
No.
You sure they had a long time to think about it. But if you haven't been in those butt naked parties, even some of the preachers been in those parties, and they wasn't on their knees praying for God. See, they was praying for somebody to have come real quick or something. But I wasn't there, but there's proof of it. But at the same time, everybody want to look around and act like something going on that wasn't right. It's the facts of life in the industry, not for the people who don't get in. So everybody, you got to look at it like this. When you see a beautiful woman or you see a handsome man, and it was like that all their life, from elementary school to junior high school to high school, they forced to go to college, right? They always knew they had something special about themselves. If you take some of the Hollywood executives or some artists, they might have been the ugly duckling for a long time before they had the teeth fix and lipsticks and nose fix, all the work done. Underneath, they still the young people with no confidence because they've been that way all their fucking life. So all of a sudden, if you look at Puffy old pictures, don't look nothing like his new pictures. You know, shit, they didn't do everything.
But Shug, just because he has plastic surgery, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you're wrong about rich people doing stuff to their face or whatever it is, but that's different than the allegations that are coming down on him.
I'm talking about richer people. I'm talking about the difference. I'm talking about, okay, look at it like this. I look at real plain and simple. Ain't no whistleblower. Facts is there. But right now, I don't care if it's T.I., I don't care if it's Rick Ross, I don't care if it's Jay, I don't care if it's Snoop, I don't care if it's Game, I don't care if it's Dre. Nobody's stepping up on the fact that you know what's going on.
Nobody's defending him. You're right.
Guys at Interscope.
You're right.
Okay.
Nobody is defending him, but that's why I was interested in hearing your perspective.
Kofi, follow me.